Okay, so we're live on YouTube. Let me get back here. Wonderful. So, Gary, good morning to you again. This is Corinne Lafont, your favorite radio host for the Between the Lines radio show, and we are so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're broadcasting here from the Caribbean island of Trinidad and Tobago. I was in Jamaica a couple of months ago, but now I'm in Trinidad, and so you never know where I could be. So I'm pretty hot. It's a Caribbean island, so I'm hot. So if you see me wiping above my lip or my head or anything, forgive me. And forgive my angelic. Oh, I shouldn't even say forgive. You said you love my angelic look.
I think it's a good look. So no forgiveness necessary.
Yes.
Forgiven. So
yeah. But let me do a quick introduction about you and what we're going to be talking about today.
Sure.
Let me grab my quick bio here. And so we have Gary Serac. He's an entrepreneur, author, public speaker, financial advisor, and American Dream advocate. So listen up, people. He is the president of Serac Financial Services Incorporated, a family-owned company where he consults with entrepreneurs to build, grow, and maintain their businesses to ensure their future success. And I understood from reading a bit on his media kit that he took over from his father, basically. He's going to talk to me about that, you know, what his father started and the legacy that he left, and for you, Gary, to take over, and why you felt the need to carry it on. And this American dream, we in the Caribbean, the rest of the world have always heard about the American dream. What's your role in it? How can you help others to attain that American dream? Is it still possible? And what do we need to do? Yeah. So I know this is your second book. You had another book in the beginning. You're going to kind of touch on that. And if you have those books with you, I want you to lift them up and show the book covers. And if you have your website, if you have your website ready, I will pull that up. Yeah, I will pull that up for persons to make sure that they're going to the right website. And I know I'm saying a lot, but I'll try and remember as we go along. And if you have any sort of offer that you would like to offer our guests today or listeners, persons who will be listening to this show, if there's any offer you would like to make in terms of your book, coaching, whatever it is that people can easily access, please share that with them so that they can have a taste and benefit of what you're offering. So let's start back again from the beginning. Tell us about this legacy that your father Stan left for you.
Well, my dad in 1957 lost his job selling beer and wine and needed to figure out a way to feed his family. So he looked for jobs. Everything he found had him traveling. He did not want to travel. There were 3 kids, and he decided that was not really something he wanted to do. So he entered the life insurance business. And for the next really 6 years, 7 years, just struggled mightily to try and earn a living selling life insurance. Eventually figured it out and started doing quite well. And eventually moved up to the world where he formed a company and moved around. And the funny thing about this is I had no interest in the business whatsoever. As a kid, I just could care less. And even when I went to college, it wasn't something that interested me at all. I wasn't sure what did interest me, but it certainly wasn't the life insurance business. I had no clue what it was even about. And nor was I really willing to listen and learn. So it was just one of those things where, yeah, my dad did well at it. That's cool. And we live in a nice house now and we live better than we did before. But I had really no interest.
Right.
Came back from college, sold waxes and polishes for automobiles, was on the road, did that for 5 years, and realized that I was bored to death. I had made good money, but I really didn't like it. And the family business was there, but I never again was really interested in the family business. It was my brother, my father, my uncle, and I just really didn't have much interest. In fact, people would say, why don't you join the business? There's already 3 Seracs in there. They don't need a 4th. So I looked for some other things to do, never really found them. And ironically, I was on a golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida with one of my father's friends. And my father's friend turned to me at the 9 And he said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure," like I could stop him from asking it, but sure, ask the question. He's a dominant person. And he said, "Why aren't you in your family's business? Why are you not with the insurance business?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, I never really thought about it. There seemed like there are a lot of us in there." He said, "Wait, you're the best salesman in your family. You should be in that business. It would be a good idea." I had never really thought about it, honestly, at all. Mm-hmm. But that man's statement really snapped me. And so for the next 9 holes, I don't think I hit the ball well once. I just kept thinking about, should I be in the insurance business? And it was such a surreal moment. I went back after the round of golf, cleaned up, told my wife what I was thinking about, and she thought it was interesting. She didn't really have an opinion. She said, "You sure you want to be in a family business? You know, they're very hard." And I said, "Oh, I know they are." I had no clue. I really didn't know who they were, but I said, "Sure." So we're at dinner that night with my mom and dad, and we're at a restaurant, and I'm trying to think of what restaurant, doesn't matter, but we're in West Palm Beach. And I remember at one point I turned to my father and I said, "Dad, I've been thinking about something." He said, "What's that?" I said, "I think I'd like to enter the life insurance business." And he dropped a glass of wine. He was literally holding the wine and he dropped it. He was like stunned.
Oh my God.
He just couldn't believe that I really had any interest whatsoever. And next thing I know, we're 60 years in the company. The business has been around 60 years. We celebrated our 60th anniversary this year.
Wow.
Pro Football Hall of Fame. So kind of a fun party.
I think what happened to your father was that he was praying for that all his life so far. And the fact that you actually came to him shocked him. Is that realization that he has been wishing, wanting, praying, and it actually came to pass, you know?
I agree with that completely.
Is he still alive?
No, my father passed away 12 years ago.
Okay. I'm sure he passed on a very happy man, knowing that his children is in the business.
Well, yes, he did. And my brother's since retired. My uncle has passed away, and sort of my company and my nephew. And so there's third generation. We're hanging in there, and we're still paying most of our bills.
Very good. And I see your picture behind of Freedom, Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
Yes.
Very important to me.
Yes, I can tell. You have it nicely framed right behind you. I love it. It's a sign of freedom. What does it mean to you and your business? Why it's
I also have it on the cover of my book. It's a symbol that's embedded in my body. You know, the whole idea of Statue of Liberty and how we all got here and what it all means and how the American dream was everybody's dream that came here.
Yes.
And whether it was to escape persecution or whatever, escape poverty or find a living or just find a way in life, it's just had an impact on my life. It's meant more to me than maybe a lot of people who don't really spend time thinking about it. I happen to have spent time thinking about it. It's had an influence on mostly everything I've done, especially when I look around and see what's happened in my world, because we clearly were not doing very well as a family. I mean, my dad, his goal in life was to put food, clothing, and shelter together so we could survive.
Yes.
And that was his only motivation in doing anything.
Yes.
Fascinating how it's turned out.
Yeah. But you are an American, born and bred. And I'm thinking the American dream really means more. I'm listening to you and I'm saying, wow, this guy is saying how much it means to him, you know, how much you have thought about it, you know, how much you're motivated by it. But what do you think is it, you know, how do you think persons who are really from a different country, fleeing from persecution, looking for that freedom, what that Statue of Liberty really represents to their life and their generations to come, the sacrifices that they have made to find themselves in America, what do you really think that means for them? And your role in helping them achieve that?
Well, I'm not 100% sure what it means to them because I'm not them, but my perception of talking to them is that not much different than it means to me, to be very honest with you, because they're experiencing sort of the same things we experienced coming, you know, my family, again, you know, wasn't like we had a lot of money. We ate a lot of macaroni and cheese and and hot dogs and bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. By the way, I still like all of those. And yeah, I'm a fan of all three. But we did not have, a lot of food. It wasn't like fancy dinners or anything. It was just open. In fact, I was telling someone, I don't think I went to a restaurant until I was 13.
Whoa.
I didn't even know what, I knew they were out there. I just had never been in one. We didn't do that. We didn't have the money to do those things, and I didn't expect them. I think people coming here are intimidated, and I would be, because it's a large country. It's not the friendliest place in the world. It's a tough world out everywhere. What we have is opportunity, and I think that's what sets us apart. I think the fact that we just have opportunity, we have potential to do things that other countries don't have.
Yes.
There's plenty of countries, I guess, you can be successful in. I don't know that much about the rest of the world, a little bit sheltered maybe. But I look at this country and say, if you really want to take advantage of your opportunities, there are opportunities here. It is very difficult. In fact, it was funny, one of the interviews I did for the American Dream Revisited, I did 25 interviews to write the book, and I came out with 13 stories. One of the interviews, one of the people said, I was told the streets of America were paved with gold. And I looked at her and I said, seriously? And she said, oh, I'm serious. She said, where I came from, that's what they said. I said, what did you find out when you got here? He says, they're paved with blacktop. She said, there's no gold in those streets. And I said, really? She said, no. And I said, I beg to differ. I think there's gold in our streets because the streets give you opportunity. I said, they may not be, you can go pick a coin off the street, but you have the opportunity to walk those streets, hopefully, and find where that gold is.
Yeah, I think she took it literally. I want to see gold. Person's way of thinking and perception. I want to see gold. But what the person, whoever told her that, was trying to say, there is opportunity there. Once you get to America, and it all depends on how you think. And if you're conscious and aware of what is happening around you and where you are, to be able to know that an opportunity is right in front of you. Yeah. I
agree with that completely.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly it. And she took it literally, and it was figuratively, but it was kind of a funny interview. I ended up not writing her story because I just couldn't get my arms around it. So 25 people, tried to find 13 stories that I thought would really make sense, that would link together nicely. And hers just didn't fit in. A bunch of them did. Good stories, but not ones that I used.
Yeah. So share with me your experience in terms of coming out of that type of life where you didn't have much to where you have now. And what does your book or what can your book offer to persons who really want to achieve that American dream? What are the stories that you have to share of persons that you have impacted through your book that has moved from point zero to point whatever?
Well, the first thing is I was not aware that I was an American dream story until I started working on the book. Never really registered in my brain that I was even in that world. I saw other people in that world, but a friend of mine pointed it out to me one day because we're having a discussion. And he said, wait a minute, Gary, for a smart guy, you're not very smart sometimes. And he said, you're an American dream story. And I looked and I said, what are you talking about? And then we went back and I thought about it. I said, he's right. I really am. So it was kind of interesting from that perspective. The stories are linked because what I did in my book is I found some common traits that all these people had. They came from very different backgrounds. I had a Holocaust survivor who survived 7 prison camps. And he ended up here. I had a lady from the Bronx who was in a Puerto Rican girl gang. You don't get a tougher environment than that. That was very successful. She ended up becoming a very successful politician, completely out of nowhere by necessity. I had a gentleman who was an Amish farmer, 8th grade education. He left the Amish farm and ended up becoming the owner and developer of a product, created $183 million in sales one year at 19 employees. A fascinating man. So I really had a diverse group of people. I have a friend of mine actually from Johannesburg, and his story, how he came here and what happened to him when he got to America. So what I tried to do is find these stories, link them together Although my intention
Right.
wasn't to link them, but after I wrote them, I realized they all had common ground. So what I've tried to do is say, here's 7 traits that you might
Mhm.
consider that these people had that will help you on your American dream.
Right, right. So share with us one or two of those common traits that you have realized in those people. So that's question number one. And question number two is what, okay, they shared common traits, yes, but I'm trying to carve the second question in the sense of, was it those same traits that allow them to become successful, or what it is that allow them to be successful? Because there are persons who will be listening to this and say, oh, that's not me. They were white, I'm black, or I'm Latino, or I'm Chinese, or I come from a different background. You know, people tend to listen to stories, Gary, and
Sure.
while it sounds good, in the same way you didn't think that you were an American dream story. Somebody else had to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else had to jolt you into realizing you can. Just like how somebody had to talk to you and say, why don't you get into the family business? You just weren't thinking about it. You had no interest. Why does it always have to take somebody external to tell us these things? You know,
Well,
that and it's not that people don't tell us, you know, Gary. They have been telling us along our lives, but somehow we ignore, we ignore. And then at some moment something clicks. What is happening there? You know?
it's funny. One of the traits was mentorship.
Mhm.
And every single person that I interviewed had mentors. And the
Okay.
mentors often provided what you just mentioned, that click. You know,
Yeah.
what happened, the zap that hit them while they were walking
Yeah.
down the street.
That's
The
right.
inspiration, and was it God-given? Was it God-sent? Or however, I don't, whatever, it doesn't matter how, and I don't think it really does. It's just the fact that it did occur. The reason it occurred could be whatever reason it was, and everyone has their own belief system, and I'm fine with
Right.
that. The point
Right.
is, something happened to all of them, and they found mentors, and the mentors were huge. I mean, there was a story I didn't write, but I could have, and he grew up, his parents were both alcoholics, very abusive parents, but the neighbor next door to him was a great guy, and he would listen to what was going on to my friend's house and realize that it was a horrible environment for this young man, and he would pull him aside and give him jobs to do and pay him and get him out of the house. And they spent a ton of time together, considering he didn't live there, he was there a lot, and he really became his inspiration to become successful. And this man would say, listen, Jim, you're a smart guy, don't listen to your mom, don't listen to your dad, they have no idea what they're talking about, listen to me, you're a good person. So this man took him under wing, literally,
Wing.
and
Yeah.
and helped him change his whole self-image. So part of
Yeah.
this is, I think self-esteem is a big deal. I think
Yeah.
recognizing mentors and saying, hey, this person could help me. They all had them, every single one. The second thing that was really important, they all had senses of humor.
Mhm.
They all had a sense of humor. They looked at stuff and says, wow, didn't see that one coming, or they would laugh at themselves, their mistakes. Very,
Yeah.
very big. And the humor came out in all my interviews. Even some of
Wow.
the interviews that, some of the ones I didn't use were some of the funniest ones, but I didn't get the point that I was trying to get, so I didn't use them. But I would sit there and I'd interview these people, I'd just crack up, but I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to write a comedy book. So that one didn't work, but was fascinating. They all had a sense of humor, except the one lady who thought the streets were paved with gold. She had no sense of humor. But it's very interesting. When I was thinking about it, the other thing that appealed to me is they all refused to quit. Failure was not an option. They had made up their mind, all of them, were going to get back up off the street. And I don't care how many times they got knocked down, they were not giving up.
Yeah. 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 I love that, Gary. So that means I'm well on my way because I have all those traits.
Yes. And I think that's really important. And in
Yeah.
fact, if you have those traits, then you just got to keep trying until it works. I just had a conversation. My son is a freelance writer. He lives in Colorado. He writes books for people and does lots of different stuff. And we were talking about the other day, and he's been doing that now for 2.5 years. And it's hard to be a freelance writer. He's
It is.
setting up his own business. And he's a little frustrated, and we've had conversations, but he's an excellent writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him last night, we were on the phone, and I said, you know, Max, your pot of gold is coming. It's just not there yet.
That's right.
And he said, what do you mean? I said, no, I mean, you're really a good writer. You just haven't been discovered. You haven't figured this out yet. It just takes more time. And you just got to hang in there and keep doing what you're doing. This will pay off.
I'll tell you something, Gary. That's very good parenting. And another parent may have said, you're wasting your damn time. Find a job. Do this. Do that. You need to pay the bills. You need to whatever. You know, I've had somebody on just recently, a clinical psychologist, and we were talking about effective parenting skills and, you know, that type of thing. And, you know, I was saying I'm the type of parent that looks at my children. I have two wonderful boys that looks at my children, and, you know, you're supposed to look at their talents and help them to hone those talents and help them and encourage and support them in that. Not try to live vicariously through your children or live your life through your children. What you didn't get, you try to push it on them so that you can be happy at the expense of their happiness. And I like what you're doing with your son. You know that he's very good. You're encouraging him, and you're not telling him, you know, come join the business or go find a job or get out there. You're wasting your time. You're putting him down. That's just not the way to go. And if we're talking an American dream, whose dream really is it? Is it mine? Is it yours? Is it your son's? It's that particular individual that has to live his or her own life.
Oh, I agree with you completely. And that's really, my wife and I are very much in agreement about that too. We've discussed it, and we both think Max has great talent. It just takes time. And what we've decided is we'd much rather have a happy son than a son that has some money. He doesn't have much money, but he's really happy. And he'd be happier if someone paid him more. But the point is, you got to start somewhere, and he started somewhere, and now he's on his path. And I think he's on a journey, but I think it's a good journey. It's one I'm certainly encouraging to keep doing.
Yes. Yeah. So are you still on your journey trying to find persons who are living the American dream so that you can continue to learn, you can continue to share, or be blown by somebody else that topped the ones that you have met before? Are you still on that journey?
Absolutely. And it's really why I wrote the book. I will tell you, I did not write the book to make money. That doesn't happen. I'm not Lee Child, and I'm not John Grisham. I mean, the people that make money in Patrick, I'm not those people. They make money becoming authors. I don't see that in my future. Maybe, you know, something will change, but I don't see that as the reason I write books. I write books because I feel like I have something I can help people with. And I certainly think helping them find their American dream is something I'm called to do.
Yes.
So that's the nature of that. And it's interesting, inside the American Dream Revisited, I built a scholarship in this book. And
that's right.
With this is I take 20% of every book sold, and I set up the American Dream Revisited Scholarship.
Very good.
A website in the book that if you're going to college in the States, you can apply for this scholarship, and we passed out our first one this last year.
Fantastic. What's that website? I want you to share that website with me. Let me pull that up.
Okay. Yeah, it's GarySurak.com.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to do a screen share here so that I want to make sure the website comes up first. Okay. Oh, you look so handsome. Hold on.
It's amazing what they can do with Photoshop.
Stop it, Gary. You look handsome. Let me see here. You're so modest.
You're not as good looking as you're on your. Hey, wait, that wasn't nice. So, no. That works out well. Yeah, we had it was fun. I did this book, and we took a bunch of photos. I had someone who knew what they were doing, and we really had a good time. We spent a day going around shooting sites and places. And
oh, that's fun. I love this one. You look pretty handsome.
Thank you.
Yes, so sharp too. I love when a guy wears jeans and a jacket. That just looks so nice.
Thank you.
Instead of a full suit all the time.
Yeah, I'm not a big suit guy, so I like my jeans and my jackets. So trademark of mine. So.
Oh yeah, just be yourself. So here we are on your site. Wonderful. Tell us a bit about how to get to if persons are in the US. It's only for persons in the US, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it's for students in the U.S. and basically they go on, in my book, go to GarySurak.com. There's information about the scholarship on this website, and they can find information to link them to the group that I hired to hand out the scholarship, because I don't know anything about scholarships. I know I wanted to set one up, but I didn't know how to pick one or how to choose somebody that deserved it. So
Yeah.
I'll do it. That's it. So
Okay, wonderful. Okay.
and we did our first one. Our second one will begin in 18, and it'll be a larger one than the first year's one. And so it's exciting. I like doing that.
It's
And
wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah.
I got a letter from the person who received my scholarship, and it was really a fascinating, flattering letter because it was just everything I wanted a letter to be. She said, I entered this scholarship, 100 people applied, 18 actually finished what they needed to do. So I thought that was interesting. 82 dropped out before they got to the finish line. I said, wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It is
incredible to me.
Yeah. Some people are not prepared to go the length and breadth, you know? They get frustrated. They're frustrated from the get-go. Yeah.
They quit before they got started. I said, wow, they didn't even get to the, even the middle, on a marathon, they got to like the first quarter mile.
Yeah.
But it's not that hard to apply. So.
So persons who get your book, and it's on Amazon, correct? The American Dream, or could they buy it off you can buy it off your website.
Absolutely. And we'll ship it. And if they buy it, I'll be glad to send them to them. They can buy it off Amazon. They can also get it off iBooks and all those things.
Oh, I want to touch on this. If your money talked, what secrets would it tell? Tell me, if your money talked, Gary, what secrets would it tell?
Well, it would tell you that I was pretty poor anyway in the beginning, but no, it really is fascinating. I've spent 35 years in the financial services world, and I've interviewed thousands of people and helped thousands of people literally with their dreams, their money. And what I learned is that so many of them were clueless about finances, and they kept making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And that just was ludicrous. It just didn't make any sense. So I decided to write the book about basic things, and it's really a basic book. It's just common sense, but what I'm finding is common sense isn't quite as common as I thought.
Exactly. And Gary, the thing about it is they don't teach these things in school.
No.
They pour a lot of information into you to regurgitate, pass a test, but life skills to cope, to make decisions, to have to be a critical thinker. They're not teaching you that. It's a competition. I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous to me because they're coming out so unprepared. I had a young man literally didn't know how to write a check.
Whoa.
And I'm saying he's 20 years old. He'd never written a check in his life. And I'm thinking that is just sad. Someone has to teach these people something. They're not. Yeah.
I see you have here in the little blurb, do you and your money get along? I mean, that is such, I haven't even read the rest, but just that alone is like, do me and my money get along? What do you mean, do me and my money get along? Are you trying to say we have a relationship going on here?
Oh, you do. You have a relationship with money. And if you don't think so, you're mistaken. There is a relationship with money that we all have.
No, because somebody reading that will be like, what do you mean? I just use the damn thing to pay for stuff. The bills, to buy me stuff. What do you mean relationship?
Okay.
I have a relationship with a human.
No, you don't.
Somebody that can talk back to me.
Money talks back to you plenty. Money talks back to you in the ways that says, hey, you just bought something you can't afford. How are you going to pay for it? Or you bought something you really like and cherish and love. So no, money, you do have a relationship with money. We all do. And it's interesting because I've debated this on the radio more than once where someone says, nah, I don't agree with you. And I said, that's cool. I'm fine with that, but let's talk about it. But the reality of it is everyone does. So when you look at something, I'll give you a great example. One of the key points in my book was please don't spend money you don't have. And they said, well, how do we do that? I said, pay cash. When you buy something, if you have a credit card issue and you have credit card debt, you don't want to pay with your credit card. You want to use cash. And if you don't have the cash to buy it, don't buy it. Don't put something in the card.
That's rough, Gary. I see a lovely shoes. I see a lovely dress. What are you telling me? I must walk away from that? The shoes is talking to me. The dress is talking to me. It's calling me. Corinne.
So's going to be the bill when you get it. So, and it's not going to be saying nice things to you, Corinne. It's going to say, why the hell aren't you paying me? Why did you buy those shoes that you don't even wear now? Because now you have this bill and it's costing you 16%, 18%. So I believe that there is a conversation that goes on in our heads when we buy things we shouldn't buy. I watched someone, I'll never forget this. I had a client of mine who actually ended up not being a client of mine because we didn't get along very well. He got his first job. And instead of doing what he was supposed to do, which was pay some of his debt down, he went and bought himself a brand new BMW. Now, I'm not his father. I'm not his brother. I'm not anybody. But the guy went and bought a brand new BMW that he couldn't afford. And the reason he did it is, he says, well, I worked hard enough. I deserve this. And I said, you know, you'd have deserved it in 3 years if you'd have paid off your debt. And then that would be cool that you did this. And I don't think it's very cool that you did it now. And so he and I pretty much disagreed. And as soon as we disagreed, I said, you know what, I think you should find somebody else because you and I aren't going to really get along. Gary,
I'm listening to you, and there are a lot of young people, you know, and I'm looking at my life too because I've made mistakes. But you know, you're learning from it. But I'm concerned for the younger generation and the sort of shoot from the hip type of behavior that they have. And just like that young man said, you know, he deserves it. You know, some of them, they see nice things and they want it. They might not be making a lot of money and they're not prepared to have delayed gratification to get it because somebody else might get it before them. It's like it's running away, it's going to disappear. How can we teach our younger generation? Because we didn't get that in our education system, and it's not likely that we're going to get it in our education system about what I was saying before, that critical thinking, that life skills, that financial planning. How can we assist them, and how can we also assist their parents or older folks who are set in their ways and still perpetuating the old way of thinking?
It's why I wrote, If Your Money Talked, What Secrets Would It Tell, Corinne? Because there isn't places to go. You have to find a money mentor, someone who actually manages their money well. And it may not be in your family. It might be a neighbor. It might be a cousin, an uncle. But someone who actually gets how money works. Because money works its own way. And what happens is, I know people that are perpetually, forever and always will be in debt.
Yes.
As soon as they get a light at the end of the tunnel, they drive a semi into it. They don't understand what they're doing. And if they do, they don't seem to care or the impact that'll have on themselves down the road. So the book that I wrote, If Your Money Talked, is really my frustration with how bad the system is.
Yes. And you did this book in 2012. We are in 2017. So that's 5 years, if my math is correct. Have you seen any change from 5 years then to now?
I think we're worse off. I don't think we're getting better. I've sold a bunch of books. I've done lots of lectures. I've done tons of radio shows, hundreds of them.
Yes.
I've done big audiences and done things like that. But the truth of the matter, excuse me, is there's just this element of people that are not going to pay attention. They're going to refuse to do what's right. And get better, and so that's an issue. But what's kind of cool is when I get an email from somebody that says, hey, I read your book 3 years ago. It's so cool. It's really helped me change how I'm doing. I'm out of debt. I had somebody come to me on the street, literally, who recognized me. I didn't know them and said, I bought your book 5 years ago, and I have to tell you that I did what you told me to do. I said, hey, what did I tell you? And they said, well, stop using my credit cards, pay off my debt. I said, what happened? Excuse me. They said, we bought our first car, and we didn't have a loan.
Wow. That is awesome. You know, a lot of us, I tell a lot of people that I work with, and I say, listen, you're looking to make a big impact. You want to get some big results. But most of the time, the reality is stop looking for those big results. It's the one person, the two persons that may come back to you, lives that you impact, because that one person can directly or indirectly impact other people's lives. So while you may think you need to create a big impact, it's not really your job. You impact somebody, one person, and that one person can continue that legacy, just like how you continue the legacy for your father. So, you know, it's just the one person, and the person who came up to you, you didn't even know. It's amazing. Doesn't it feel good to know that somebody walk up to you and tell you what you did and you didn't even realize you did something,
Right.
you know, to your life? Yeah.
That's why I wrote the book. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So the American dream, why is it revisited? Why can't it just be American
Excuse
dream?
me. Something caught in my throat. The reason it's revisited is because I took a college course 45 years ago, and in that college course, we dealt with the American dream.
Right.
The American dream we dealt with 45 years ago, I dealt with then, and then I revisited it this year when I wrote the book. So it was me revisiting the American dream, and I thought we needed to do it as a country too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we lost sight of what the American dream was. It isn't becoming a billionaire and a billionaire. It wasn't any of that. It's food, clothing, and shelter, having a good life, having a safe life. That's what it is.
And being happy, being happy, being happy.
Having purpose.
Yes. Oh, yes. People are still trying to figure out what their purpose is, Gary.
Purpose.
Some people don't know their purpose. Yeah.
They have no clue. But that's what this is really about. So that's why I revisited it.
Yeah, yeah, they're like a walking dead. They're just floating, having a routine every day. I wake up, I do this, I do that, and I do the same thing over and over again, like robots. Yeah?
Yes.
Like robots.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's exactly true. And it's funny, I use the analogy, I love baseball. And I love to come home and flip on the Cleveland Indians and listen to baseball or watch them on TV.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's my routine, but it's one that I'm really happy in. And then I realized, wow, I have this routine going, but it's one I really like, but it's not without purpose. It has it's enjoyable to me. So it's kind of funny. And then I talk to people who come home and all they do is nothing wrong with drinking beer, but they'll go home and they'll drink a 6-pack or a 12-pack of beer. And that's their purpose. And I think, really? Drinking beer? Well, okay. Everybody has their own thing.
Yeah, and nothing is wrong with that. Let's see how far
no problem with that whatsoever. I drink one and I'm good, but 12 of them, wow, I was pretty crazy. But everybody has their own thing, and that's what makes them happy. And I said, as long as it makes you happy, I'm good.
Yeah, because it's not impacting you.
Correct.
And what you do is not impacting them. They might listen to you, say you watch baseball, and they're like, "What? Watch baseball? What the hell do you get out of that?"
Boring as hell. That's what one friend of mine said. God, why you picked the most boring thing in the world to watch? I said, yeah, I love it. And they said, okay. But it's the way it works. So everybody has their own things.
Everybody has their own thing. Oh my goodness. So Gary, what's next in store after the American Dream Revisited? What's next in store for you?
Well, I really like the idea. We're crossing over. We wrote this book a year ago, and it takes a while for these things to really percolate and grow. And quite frankly, Corinne, my view is that this will travel around the world, and it'll travel on its own pace, in its own way. I'm doing an interview out of Zimbabwe next week. I'm doing one out of Vancouver.
Wow.
I have one in somewhere else. I think Toronto, LA, and New York. It just moves on its own, and we'll see where it goes and what happens. My next book, I'm kind of playing around with it. I wrote the outline for it, and I'll start putting that together, but it'll be a short book. It's called The Mental Side of Retirement.
Wow, I love that. I love that. I love that.
That one I'm just in the brewing. I got the pot stirred, and we'll see what happens. But I like that one, and so we'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And again, until it isn't fun anymore, and it's really a lot of fun, so I just keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully I can impact people in a positive way.
I think you are. There's no hopefully in that. I think you're already doing it. And, you know, your books and the legacy is going to live on beyond you. And so it's going to continue working, you know, it's going to continue working. And people will be talking about you long past after you've gone, you know. You'll be smiling, be smiling from above, so don't worry about it.
I'm not going to. So the one thing I would like to leave you with is that if you do read my book and you like it, please put something positive on Amazon. That seems to matter a lot.
Yes, it does. It does. It does.
The reviews are a big deal, and we've gotten very positive reviews. And it's funny, I've gotten them from different countries, and it's very interesting when that happens. And I say, whoa, I did one out of Australia.
Yes.
I got a great review from somebody in Australia who read The American Dream Revisited, and I said, well, that was cool. So just stuff like that helps, and besides that, it makes me feel better. So thank you.
Great. Is there anything that you would want to offer persons listening to this episode?
Well, if they buy them directly from my website, I would be glad to sign a couple copies for them and send them to them.
Okay.
And that would be fine. If not, they can pick them up off Amazon, which is great, or they can get them from ebooks. iBooks are wonderful. So that whole idea of going on to Apple and downloading or one of those things is pretty amazing. That's how I got to Zimbabwe. I didn't ship them a book. So.
The beauty of technology. I mean, in a matter of a click, you can automatically get the books now. You don't have to wait 3-4 weeks or more to get a physical book. But books like these, Gary, because I'm a self-publishing consultant and an author myself, I love books, and books like these are a keeper. I don't like to get them. I mean, for a quick read, but if it's a keeper and I want it on my shelf, I need the physical book. I have, like you say, just like with the relationship with money, I have a relationship with books. I have to smell the pages. I have to flip those pages. I have to mark up the book, put dog ears in there, you know.
We're very similar in that regard. I don't like, it's funny, I don't really like reading books on my iPad or a Kindle. I would much rather hold the book, flip the pages, and
flip those pages.
And I'm stubborn about that because my wife said, it'd be a lot easier to do it. And I said, I know, but I like this. So
yeah, I like to read. I'm like, like sometimes you finish read a book, you put it down, and some years later, months later, you're like, I need to go back to that book. You like going on that shelf, getting that book again, pulling it off. You know exactly where to find that particular hint or point, and you flip through and you're looking. It's just something about it that is just exciting to me.
I agree completely, and you feel the same way I do. I'd much rather pick it up, own it, put it on my shelf, pick it up again. I've read Think and Grow Rich probably 10 times. Fascinating book.
Napoleon Hill, Jesus, that man is something else.
Oh, amazing. And so those are the kind of things that I like to own. So if someone wants to own my books, I'll be glad to sign them and personalize them. I actually had a really cool thing happen. For Christmas, someone came in and bought 25 books.
Whoa!
And I personalized all 25 of them to the people they were sending them to. And I gave them a good price. But it was very cool. And they just said, we thought about this and we read your book and thought it was really, really good. And we would like to have this as a gift to give to all our grandchildren and nieces and nephews.
Nice.
25 of them. That was kind of nice. I thought, wow, big family. I was excited.
25 years.
I wanted to know if they knew other people with big families, but so.
Yeah, well, Christmas is coming again.
It is. Works nicely. So.
Yes. And you all just had Thanksgiving. What did you guys do for Thanksgiving?
We put our family together. There were 10 of us, and it was very nice. They couldn't all get into town, but we normally have a little larger crowd, but we just had travel issues and things like that. But it was very nice. And I like Thanksgiving from a low-key standpoint.
Yeah.
I just think it's a wonderful time to get together. It's a great family holiday. There is no gift giving. There is no pressure. All you do is eat good food and drink some good wine and go home. And I'm good with that. And this time I didn't have to clean up. That was even better. So.
Really, Gary? Really, Gary? Okay. Okay, but next Thanksgiving you're going to be cleaning up. I have to talk to you.
We alternate. So next year I'm cleaning up again. So we're on the every other year path, and next year I'll be in the cleanup duty. So.
You have a schedule to remember that. I know you guys have a tendency to forget conveniently and say, I did it last year. Was it
Oh, no. We remember. This one's written in stone. So, in fact, the other night when we were leaving, they said, by the way, you're hosting next year? We said, oh, yeah. I mean, you could see everybody was happy. They weren't doing it again, so we're doing it now. Written in stone, Kareem.
Written in stone, written in stone. Oh my God, Gary, it's been a pleasure having you. I mean, we are here for about an hour. And this is what I say to people. I said, even though I put 30 minutes on my show, I don't cut off at the 30-minute point. You know, based on the conversation, I just continue on. I don't limit, you know, because so much value is coming out of the conversation. It's unfair to persons listening to this to just be cut off and feel, oh, I didn't get enough. I wanted more. I wanted to hear more. So I want to be able to give value to persons listening to this. And I too want to gain value from talking to you and getting to know you.
Well, it's been a pleasure. We've had a lot of fun besides maybe we gave somebody some inspiration to do something. So
that's right. That's
win-win.
right. I think
and maybe they had one too. So
that's right. The inspiration for me is that question, the relationship between you and your money. Yeah, that question I think should retain in people's minds. Beside everything else, they should understand the relationship they have with money, you know, and realize that it is a relationship. It is not just, you know, a medium of exchange. Yeah.
Oh, it's way more than a medium of exchange. There's so much tied to money that they don't think about. The energy of money is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And I think about that all the time. I've been with people who have won $9 million in the lotto.
And lost it.
And 2 years later, they have none.
Yeah, bankrupt. So before we go, Gary, tell me a bit about the services you offer, because you mentioned mentorship, that common trait with those persons that you have watched over the years and have gotten their stories and shared. Do you offer that type of mentorship to persons that they can come to you for help?
I am available to do that. I'm glad to help people. I mean, I've been very fortunate, very successful, very lucky. Work hard, but you know, I know a few things, and sometimes they're good to pass on to other people. So I get emails from people asking me questions, and sometimes I can't help them, but sometimes I'm very good at helping them, and it just depends on what the question is. But I've had some kind of funny ones. But anyway, but I've had some very good ones and some serious ones. I've mentored people really all around the country, and I don't charge for that. I don't have any interest in that. It's not, I'm trying to make money, but as long as it's not an intrusion in my life, and if there's value there, I'd be glad if someone sends me an email. I think about it and try and answer them in an intelligent way.
Yeah.
And at least if I can help them that way. And then our financial services company, we invest money and manage money and sell insurance and do those things for people. And we've been doing that a long time.
And I guess if you can't help them directly yourself, there are persons that you can point them to or point them in the right direction that they can get. Yeah.
And a lot of times it's pointing them in the direction of books and just looking for mentorship and saying, listen, you know, I had, in fact, I have one funny story before we go. I was meeting with a client a number of years ago, probably 10 years ago, and we were working on her finances and her retirement and their position in life. And at one point she turned to me and she said, Gary, she said, I have a very important question to ask you. And I said, what's that? She said, are you thinking about retiring soon? And I said, no, but why did you ask? I said, I'm not in any hurry. I kind of like what I'm doing as long as I'm happy doing this and I enjoy it. And she said, well, she said, we were talking about it and how much you've helped us. And you're like the smartest people we've ever met in our life. And we're really worried if you retire, what would happen?
Yes. Yeah.
And I said, you know what I suggest? And I said, what's that? I said, you need to meet a lot more people.
Yeah.
Because if I'm the smartest person you ever met, you have a very limited group of people you know. And
that's right.
She said, okay. And then she said, no, I'm really serious. I said, yeah, so am I. I said, you need to broaden your horizons. I said, because I'm good at what I do. I said, but I'm not the smartest person on the planet. I just know what I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, 10 years later, she just retired. And she came in and she hugged me and said, because of you, I'm able to not work for the rest of my life and have a very nice income. Those are the reasons I still work for you.
Yeah. And keep doing what you're doing, Gary. Keep doing what you're doing. And that's another message to persons. Expand your network, because just limiting yourself to one person and feeling that if something happens to you or you leave the business, there's no way for them to have a source of information. They need to expand their network and don't just depend on one, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. So.
Yeah. Gary, it has been a pleasure. I totally enjoyed talking with you. I've learned so much. I'm definitely going to get your books. I want an autograph copy too, please.
We can arrange that. So
yes, yeah. And I think before I do the American Revisited, I want to do the money talk thing. Okay. I'm gonna do the money talk because I want to understand my relationship with money. You know, should I beat it down or would it work with me? I don't know.
You can work with it, and the thing is, you don't make. And then we'll cut this off. But if you do this the way I really want people to do it, you don't make all these changes in one day. You slowly integrate them into your system. You stop spending credit cards. So I said, start carrying cash. I never forget, I had someone who never carried cash. I said, you need to carry cash. And they said, why? I said, because you need to pay for things with cash, not credit card.
Yeah.
I said, your credit cards are bearing you at 18%. You need to get out from underneath that.
Yeah.
And they started doing that. And then 2 months later, I saw them and they said, you know, it's amazing. We have not bought one thing on our credit card. And our credit card's the lowest it's been in 3 years, 4 years. Yeah. And I said, shocking. I mean, they looked at me like they were shocked that this. I said, no, it's common sense.
Yes, yes. But Robert Kiyosaki talks about it too. Everything is in cash. Yeah. You know, just deal with everything in cash. It's the way to go. I mean, the Chinese do it. That's how they buy everything.
Everything.
Everything is in cash.
They're smart. And that's what so that's what we try and do. So
yeah, but thank you so much.
You have a great day, and this has been lovely.
It's been great. I overspent time with you. I'm hearing your phones. I'm hearing all sort of thing. You're a busy man. I thank you so much for your time. People, this is Between the Lines. You're with your favorite host, Corinne Lafont. And Gary, I look forward to doing more work with you. I wish you all the best in your business, your family, your son. You know, Rachel, who set all this up together, I thank her so much for connecting us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too. And you do look angelic, so it's very cool.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a great day.
Bye.